Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with yet another Panda palette introduction. I posted my regular Panda palette introduction yesterday, and I'm being crazy enough to attempt a second one this year. But as you can see from the title, this is going to be my first year doing a Panda face palette. I have never done this project before because I haven't had that many face palettes in my collection, but I recently acquired quite a few for different ways. So I thought it was time to give this project a go and try it out for myself. So that's what I'm going to do this year. So I picked out a palette that I want to pan in this project, and I want to ideally use it up completely. The palette that I have chosen is a mix between blushes, a highlighter, I think it's a bronzer, and some face powder. So it's a good mix in there. And you can leave me, if you want to, you can leave me guesses down below with what palette you think I'm gonna pick. So yeah, leave them down below before I jump into the video. But before I do so, also, first of all, by the way, I'm still very much in Christmas attire. I'm pre-filming this video quite a lot. We are currently, I think, on the 13th of December. So very much in advance. So that's why I'm still in Christmas spirit. I just had my Christmas jumper day at work, which is why I'm looking like this. I wore the red lip, the Christmas earrings, the Christmas jumper, all of that good stuff. So I thought I would come home and pre-film a little bit. Just also letting you know that I won't start using this palette until the 1st of January. Just for transparency reason, yeah, I'm not gonna start working on this one already because we have more than 2 weeks left of the year. But with all of that aside, I'm sure you're excited to get into the video. So before I do so, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So, I am sure you're all very eager to find out what I've decided to pan in this project, and what I have decided for my first ever Panda face palette is actually one of my 2 hourglass palettes. I have 2 hourglass palettes in my collection, and out of the 2, the one I decided to go with is the one that I've had the longest, which is the Hourglass Ghost Edit face palette. This is going to be so annoying to show every single time because the packaging is super reflective. I did clean it up the best I could, but yeah, I probably will avoid showing you the outside as much as possible, just because it is so reflective, like I said. So, to show you my starting point, this is what the palette looks like on the inside. So as I said before, you have a few different type of powders. Let's go through them in order. So first up in the palette, we have the shade Dim Light, which is a finishing powder. We have Diffuse Light, which is also the finishing powder. Next up, we have the highlight of the palette, which is the shade Iridescent Strobe Light, and that is called a strobe powder. Then for the second row, we have the bronzer, and this is the shade Eternal Bronze Light, which is, again, a bronzer. For these 2, first up, we have one of their strobe blushes in the shade Iridescent Rose. And lastly, we have a second one, which is just one of their regular blushes in the shade Sublime Flush. And that is just that shade there. So this is the palette that I wanted to work on this year. As you can see, the pans are relatively small. If you've ever had this palette before, like any of the Hourglass palette, the pans are relatively small in here, but it's still quite a lot of product to work through. I did look up the advertised weight on this product, and this palette has been discontinued. It was released in 2019. I picked this one up, I think, 2 years ago off of eBay. So I've had it for a little bit of time, but I didn't pick it up myself. So I think there was a little bit of use in this one before I got it, but not much. Most of the use is for myself. And I would say out of all of the products, the ones that has the most use is definitely the bronzer and the shade there in the middle. So I don't know if you can see when I look like this, that those are the ones with the smallest domes. I don't know how much is left in here, but again, there is 8.4 grams of advertised product in here. Usually I've noticed, and I've also seen from other people, that they're usually more than the advertised weight in things like this. So I'm going to assume that there's still 8.4 grams in here. There might be less, but there might be more. And hopefully if I finish this palette this year, I can continue weighing it and you see how much product was actually in here. Granted, scales can kind of shift from month to month, but I'm going to use the same scale and try to weigh it in the same manner and every month. And hopefully that should give me as clear of an indication as possible on how much weight I use up. So my starting weight for this palette is 138 grams 32. So that is the starting point for this product, and I'm going to keep weighing it throughout the year, and hopefully I can give you an update every month on how much product I use up. So yeah, that is the palette. Let me go ahead and swatch it out for you so you can see what each shade looks like. So I went ahead and I swatched out the palette right here so you can see each shade. Up here we have the first shade, Dim Light. Then on that, which is lighter powder, we have Diffuse Light. Under that we have the highlighter. I don't know if you can see it right there. It's quite close to my skin tone, but it's giving that little shine. And that is the shade Iridescent Strobe Light. The bronzer right here is the shade Eternal Bronze Light. Then the brighter of the two blushes, which is right here, is the shade Iridescent Rose. And at the very bottom, the more kind of subtle blush down here is the shade Sublime Flush. So yeah, those are the shades. You can see all of them there. I think they're going to be quite easy to incorporate. I'm not too worried about any of them really. The only one that I feel like I might struggle with a little bit, or that might take the longest, is that kind of brighter, more vibrant blush right here, the shade Iridescent Rose. So yeah, that is basically going to be my introduction for my Panda palette. Let me know if you think I can finish this palette this year, and if so, how long do you think it's going to take me? Do you think it's going to take me the whole year? Do you think I'm going to be able to finish it earlier than that? Again, I've never done a Panda face palette before, so we'll see how it goes. It's also worth noting that I will be working on other products as well. This won't be the only face products that I'm working on. I will most likely have highlighters and blushes, especially in other projects. I think I'm going to incorporate at least one of each of those in my year-long product pan. And then I think I'm going to incorporate a couple bronzes as well throughout the year. Maybe I'll try to finish this one up first and then incorporate other ones. If you saw the 50 products that I want to pan in 2024, you know that I'm being very ambitious with face products this year. So again, we'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping to get through this one. So I hope you enjoyed this introduction. And if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'm so excited to do all the intros for this year, and I will have more coming. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye guys.